Recording. Okay, here we go. We got a few people here today. Hopefully a few more will join us. This is our Tuesday newer broker office hours. Today is January 16th. I'm going to close my door so that we don't get interrupted. And we'll get going here. So, all right, some ground rules for our meeting, similar to our Thursday brokerpreneur, our broker open podcast hour meeting. No discussion of actual commissions. This is you're free to charge whatever you want, and nobody's dictating anything or having any conversations that would indicate what someone else should charge. It's a supportive and collaborative environment. We're all on the same team. If you're too shy to speak up, you can put stuff in the chat for me. I'm going to open up the chat window so I can see your chats and questions. And or you can raise your hand using, on the bottom is like reactions. You can raise your hand and I will call on you. All right, let's start with motivation and momentum. Robert, you were first to join us today. Robert, what's your motivation and momentum? Where are you on a scale of 1 to 5? Tell me a little bit about what you've been up to or what you're looking to do today.
Well, I'm really here to listen to what other people are or have questions, concerns. I'm brand new, and so everything's new to me. Even though I've been licensed for a couple of years, it's my first transaction listing that I've got going on, and I'm approaching it as a student still and trying to get all the information I can get, and every little bit will help me to go forward.
Yeah, Robert has 1,000,002 first listing. Pretty awesome, huh? Okay, Sergio, let's hear from you. How are you on a scale of 1 to 5, motivation and momentum? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, motivation is definitely high because of the current times, being hard. So the motivation is high, and it's I'm really trying to implement all the extra legwork and physical work and calls and all the extra work in to make it happen and just go back to the basics.
Oh, goodness. That's my client. She's called me 4 times now. And it's nothing urgent. Just leave me a message. We've just had a conversation and I told her, go look up your receipt on your windows and tell me who did the last work on the windows. It's urgent. Okay. Thank you, Sergio. Great. Natalie, let's hear from you. Motivation and momentum. Where are you at?
Hi. I'm definitely at a 5 as well. I'm just a little bit in a weird spot because I'm gonna have a baby any day now.
Oh, any day.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Do any day.
Well,
So
we're excited for you.
yes, me and Laura just listed a property that went on the MLS yesterday.
Great.
So I'm just trying to get through as much of it as I can without having a baby.
Yeah. This is your second child?
Yes, my second.
Okay, great. Well, we will prematurely wish you congratulations.
Thank you.
And hope things go well and smoothly for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so then I want to say last week we talked about, what did we talk about? I made notes on it and then I lost my notes. We talked about a couple of important things, and we talked about getting more familiar with the market. And I think we talked about doing a market analysis or something like that, how to get more familiar with the market. And then I forget what the other one is. I left my notes on that somewhere. I put my notes on that. Anyway, I promised you guys some materials from that. Oh, 6 negotiating commissions. That's the other thing, big thing we talked about. So one of our agents is working for a family member, her dad, and he wants her to work for free. And she's like, I don't want to work for free. How do I handle this? So we talked about all that. And I promised you guys the why 6% brochure piece that I use in my listing presentations, and I will get you that. I want to edit it in light of the lawsuits that are happening. I want to edit it so I make sure that we don't get ourselves in trouble and that it makes sense in the current climate that we're dealing with for buyers and sellers and the arguments that are going on about how to pay realtors and that we get paid too much and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a little editing on it and tweaking of it, and then I'll make it available to you. I also am trying to get our series of classes set up in my broker, the toolkit learning management system that I have set up for you guys. And I'm waiting on the guys that manage the system for me to set it up for me. So that's where I want to put it so that you can come back and look at any video that we talk about. You can find the topic and say, I remember we talked about, what date was that? I don't remember. Oh, you can find it in the list. It'll be in the list along with any materials that we discussed or added to it or promised, to PDFs and Excel spreadsheets or Word documents or anything like that will be there too. And you'll be able to watch the videos and come back to them if you get interrupted, the phone rings or something in the middle of trying to watch a video to catch up or on one you missed or review one you learned something from and want to review. And you'll be able to come back to it and remember, it'll remember where you left off. And so you don't have to, watch the whole thing again to get to minute number 17 or something. Okay, so it'd be a great system to be able to manage that process. But I need help to get it set up, and then I can start putting content in it for you. All right, so that's in process, but I haven't forgotten. We're going to get it done. All right. Today, before we started, I was talking with Robert about his new listing. It's time for a price reduction. He's had it listed for about 75 days now or something like that. And we were talking about doing a current new market analysis and how to talk to the client, because at 60 days, they still weren't ready to do a price reduction, even though we got quite a bit of feedback from other agents who had shown it that said it's not priced right. And so, we did our market analysis this morning. Robert and I have been working on doing the market analysis to see, is it really priced right? And at $1.2 million, there's some of it is subjective. Because you're paying for the cachet of being in a certain location and in a certain class of neighborhood. But looking at the comps, then we have plenty of comps for us to look at. This house is in Albuquerque Acres area. And we are both feeling like it needs a price reduction of $25,000 to $50,000. And we don't know what the seller's going to go for yet, but we're gonna have a role play about how to talk to the seller about how to make a price reduction. And so, Robert, would you like to do that today with the group?
Yes, I would.
Maybe we can all kind of chime in with some
Definitely.
ideas about how to have this conversation, because this is an important skill,
Right.
to be able to get price reductions when it's time. So, okay, so let's work on that first. I have some other stuff too we're going to talk about as well on business planning and goal setting for 2024. Since it's the beginning of the year, it's a good time to do that. Okay, but right now let's talk about the market analysis. So Robert has dug into the comps. We did the one-line CMA approach. We can see that it's priced at $279 a square foot. And there have been sales, a couple, 3 sales over $279 a square foot, but most of them are much lower than that. And there are 4 pending properties that are above $279 a square foot, and 2 of them are way above $279 a square foot. I use square footage, cost per square foot, as sort of the apples to apple measuring stick, because just one house in the same street might be priced. In fact, this is the same street right now. There's a new listing on Robert's listing street that just came on at $995. And we're at 1.2. And if you just look at price, you'd say, well, obviously we're too high. No, there's a lot of differences between the 2 houses. Square footage being one. Robert's listing is huge, and it has a casita. And it's a beautiful custom designed home, and it has some really special features to it. It has a 3-car garage. I mean, it's really a nice home. And a 20-year-old home really doesn't show much wear and tear, and it's still nicely designed. It doesn't really need any updating. So, and everything is just top quality in there, everything. So it deserves to be higher than average on the cost per square foot scale. Now we get that, but the seller is like, I'm not going to lower my price yet. Well, we are still getting feedback from open house visitors, from buyers and sellers and buyers and their agents, that it's priced a little too high. And getting a price reduction will put it on the hot sheet for the day when people open up the MLS and they'll see listing reductions listed there. It'll be on the list and it'll kind of refresh and it will show up in somebody's search that was limited at 1.199. Perhaps now it'll show up for them and maybe it'll spark some new interest. Have you noticed that when a listing gets a price reduction, it gets new activity? That's probably why. And so we're going to pretend that we're going to have this conversation with the seller to ask for a price reduction. Okay, so Robert, let's try with you going first. Do you want me to go first? Do you want you and you be the client, or do you want me to be the client and you try to get me to do a
Yeah,
price
let
reduction?
you be the client and I will go
Okay,
first. I'll
I like
just
this.
throw out
Okay,
there.
I'm going to be your client.
Well, hello there, Camille. Did you get the information I sent you today?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm glad you called. I'd like to talk about that.
Okay, great. I've gone over it extensively. What do you think of these numbers? Is there any questions that you had on that?
Well, it's a big range. I mean, everything from 400 and something a square foot to 160 something a square foot. So I'm a little confused. What
Well,
is going on with that?
yeah, and that's based on what's the activity that's been going on, what's been sold, what is impending, what is active. And there is going to be a range. It also has a lot to do with timing. When a house first goes on the market, it may close sooner than later, and then also if it takes a while, if it takes 140 days, and that's also a scenario as well.
I
We want to
noticed
look
that
at
I noticed that several of the sold listings sold within a week, and
that
we're
is
almost
that is
90 days.
correct.
What's up with that?
Well, what it is that your home is a very unique home. It has
Yeah,
items that you
it
won't
is.
find in these other homes. The casita for one, the cathedral ceiling in the bathroom for another, the studio. Now that is a you don't see those. People make studios out of a bedroom, a
Yeah.
workshop out of a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So this has other amenities that the others don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we just need to keep searching for that right buyer that is looking for something like this, a hobby person, somebody that needs extra space, not necessarily a family that's wanting to put 4 bedrooms in a house and put in 3 children. So, and we have those clients in the past, or these kind of customers have come in through your home and they like the home, they like the amenities, they like what they see, but they want to make the studio a bedroom, or they don't see the value in that because they're not inclined into making a hobby or having some kind of crafts, or the home that was built for your aunt and uncle, that was specifically for them. But I know there are the right people out there. What I
Mm-hmm.
believe is that, looking at the data, there has been some activity based on some homes that have been reduced just a little bit, which created activity on that home, even if it was after 30 or 60 days. I think
Mm-hmm.
the timing for us to do that is now. But I don't want to. I don't want to see a $200,000 acceptance on an offer that doesn't make sense as far as what the value of this home is.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to protect your investment, but do it in a way that where we're going to get the right buyer. By reducing the price on this home, that's going to create some very well interest, and probably on the ones that have already looked at it. So,
Okay. What do you recommend?
well, looking at this data here, I've seen we have 2 listings that went reduced 150,000 and another one that got reduced to
I don't want to
50,000.
reduce 150,000. That's pretty drastic.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think too. And in
Mhm.
fact, on one of the RPR CMA that I sent you, the market
What's
analysis,
RPR, huh?
that's
What's that?
residential value marketing,
Mhm.
residential property marketing. And that was the second of the two that I sent you. And it shows that those homes got reduced, but they might have not been priced right, based
Mhm.
on the square footage, based on on what they were seeing.
Mhm.
But what I'm seeing here is that I don't believe that we should have that kind of reduction, but just at least enough that would make sense to possible, qualified buyers.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm thinking maybe 25,000 reduction. Maybe we
Okay,
could even go 50,000, which would really make a input without making it look scary like that $100,000 reduction
yeah.
that was happening.
Well, I think 50 is too much, but I'd be willing to go with 25. What do you
Okay, well,
think? Will that get enough attention?
yes, and then with our marketing strategies to draw in the right buyers for the studio and for the casita, I think that is what's going to really help
Okay, well,
in
I'd,
this
I'd love to
listing.
see you do some specific marketing for those functions. Like some people need a casita or a hobby room. Have you done anything to find those people?
Well, yeah, we put in the listings in many social media platforms, advertise on LinkedIn, advertise on our HomeSmart uh, Facebook type page, and that's throughout the country. We've also done it on Facebook as well. It's on the MLS, and anybody who is searching for a home in that type of price point has access to that as well. But we
Okay,
believe that there's some other items, there's some other ways that we can get the right customer to look at this property.
okay. Well, good. Okay, well, I'd really like to get this sold. I'm not desperate, but we need to get this done.
Yes, we do.
So, okay,
Well,
what do we do now?
I will send over a your authorization to get this price reduction, and we'll get started on it right away.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for all your work and I hope we can get this sold soon.
You're welcome. We'll definitely be in touch.
Okay. All right, so what do you guys think? How did that go? Natalie, do you have any comments about that?
No, I think I'm just like learning, just
Okay,
taking it
Sergio.
in.
Sergio, you probably had to deal with price reductions. How did we do?
Um, you did good. You did good. Let's see. What are some? I mean, just it's a good thing taking into account, like the differences between the houses, the different amenities. And I like how you explained the fact that the owners built into their liking, right? And it's about finding that special buyer. So that just makes it more real, right? Because that's a real reason why uh, the question of her trying to compare another property, um, a sale, and why it sold quicker. Um, that made it real. So I really like that.
Good, thank you. All right, so what I would add to what you did, Robert, is one, it always sounds better when other people are giving you the feedback that they need to hear. And so I would also add, besides everything you did say, that the feedback I'm getting from buyers who have visited my open houses and from agents who have shown it is that they feel like it's a little bit too high. Not a lot too high, but a little bit. And they would probably bite on an offer if it was priced somewhere between 1.1 and 1.5. Would you say that's about where you're getting the feedback at?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've had in fact of I would say 50% said, you know what, this house doesn't work for us.
right. And that's a no,
And
no matter what it's priced at, never
yeah,
gonna work.
12 to, and that's about 14, 13 surveys.
Mhm.
The other half says, yeah, that's really nice. I really like it. I think I think that could make this work. This could work for us. I just think it's a little bit it's too high. It's
Mhm,
priced too high.
right.
And that,
So,
and that's what I've been sending him, and he's so
yeah, and so
he's
emphasize
like,
that.
what do you mean it's too
Sending you
high?
the feedback along the way that we've gotten from buyers and from their agents.
Right,
And so just keeping that in mind, let's think about where we need to be now. And so use them as your, like, they said it, not me, kind of thing,
right.
right? Because it's always better when it comes from a third party rather than you. All right,
Yeah,
so
and this is
that's
true
the only other
activity.
thing I would add.
Okay,
Leverage the people who've seen it and commented on it that it's too high to help you kind of back you up.
right,
Yeah, and then you can also use me. My qualifying broker was here on Saturday at the open house, and she looked around. We talked about it at length. She's looked at my comps, and she agrees that we should be somewhere around 1.5 to get an offer. Now, you might get an offer at 1.75, 1.175. We might get an offer at that point, but
right.
for sure, she thinks we'll get an offer when we're at 1.15. What do you
Yeah,
want to do? And put it in their court. What do you want to do? This is
right,
what she thinks. This is what the public is saying. What do you want to do? Because they're always, Mr. Seller, you are always the final decider, not me. And
right.
the market is telling us we're a little bit too high. We've tried it at 1.2, hoping that would work, but it's not working. We're at almost 90 days and nobody's been willing to make an offer. So
That's true.
and they like the house, but they're like, no, it's not priced right. They're reluctant. And buyers will not make an offer if it's 5% or more overpriced.
Right.
They just will not. And sellers think, well, why don't they just make an offer? Let's talk. They don't. They just like, when it gets to within 5%, they'll at least make an offer.
They don't want to look bad. They don't want to insult. They want
Yeah,
to make a decent offer. And if it's
right.
not, and we've had a couple of verbal offers that,
At 1.0,
yeah, 1.0.
which I don't think is right. I think
No,
that is too low myself. And you
right.
can say, my broker says 1 million is too low, but 1.2 is too high. So we need to be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah. If somebody came across and offered 1.125, even 1.1, I definitely would say, let's take a look at this, Mike. Let's go ahead and see what we can, I think this is a pretty valid offer.
Yeah, Sergio makes a good comment backing me up. So use me, use your people who've seen it and their comments to back you up and say, we need to do a price reduction. We won't get an offer till we're within 5% of the real market value.
Right.
And buyers have a lot of information to work with, Zillow, Realtor.com, and so forth, to look at what's going on in the market. And they are not dummies. They can see. Now, even though New Mexico is a non-disclosure state where they don't get to see the final price, we do. And we can see that it's really, really close to where it needs to be. But I think
Yes.
we'll get an offer when it's at 1.15. That's my
Yeah.
prediction. Do you want that to be next week or in another month or two?
Next week would be better.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything can happen in 2 months these days.
You never know. And who knows? I mean, around some crazy buyer could come from, California selling their $4 million bungalow and want to buy it, here. Who knows? I can't predict that. But I do think that buyers are pretty savvy and they can tell when a property isn't priced quite right. And that's what
Yes.
they're telling us because we haven't gotten an offer yet. I've done all the marketing I can. We've been holding open houses. We've been doing all kinds of efforts to try to find that special buyer, and they're not biting at the price we're at.
Right.
And the continual feedback from buyers and buyers agents is that it's not quite priced right.
That's
Let's
it.
get it to the right price so we can all move on.
Okay.
Okay, good job. Okay, now, next topic. Let's talk about business goals for 2024. You guys up for that? Okay. So I want to show you a few different tools that we have to help you with this. But first I want to ask, has anybody set some goals for 2024? Sergio, have you decided what you want to do for this year, either in number of sales or volume, how much, home sales volume? Natalie, I'm
So,
not sure if you know what volume means, but that is like you sold a house at 350, one at 450, one at 750. When you add it all up, that's your volume. Okay, Sergio, have you set any goals for this year, and what are they?
yeah, actually, I have big goals for this year.
Good.
Last year, I really focused on my own investments and stuff, but this year I'm really focusing on volume and sales. So I'm wanting to shoot high. So like that other Zoom meeting that we had when we were doing math or numbers. I don't remember what other Zoom meeting it was, but I know that we were talking. Oh yeah, I know it's on the one on Wednesday, on Thursday. The what do you call it? That training that you purchased us.
Oh, okay, our
that
broker open podcast.
that's
Good.
the one I was trying to.
Mhm.
Um, uh, so I want to shoot for 300,000. So gross sales. So
You mean gross
just
commissions or volume or what?
on in sales in general, right? But I'm trying to do higher ends.
Okay, so
Right
you're
now,
trying to raise your average price point?
exactly.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, raise my higher price point, and then also run numbers for how what I gotta do, how many calls I gotta make, how many appointments I gotta set, how many what my turnover rate is, and just refining all those strategies to make sure that my turnover rate is great, and then
And when
just
you say turnover rate, what do you mean by that?
well, like how many um of my scheduled appointments do I create into actual listings, or
Okay,
so I'm focusing on listings more this year as well,
good.
because from list buyers, and
Mhm.
I also optimize my buyers better as well, just to not spend so much time with that, and I mean, spend time, yes, the time that's necessary, but just be more efficient,
Okay,
and
good.
have a good
That's
strategy for my.
important. Everybody should know this. When you're setting your goals, account for the fact that about 25 to 30% of deals fall apart. So if you set a goal for 10 sales, that means you actually have to put 13 or 14 deals together, because a third of them aren't going to make it. Keep that in mind. Right? Have you experienced that?
Yeah, definitely. I experienced that. So yeah, just going back to how we ran our numbers, to take everything into account. That what you just said, the amount of turnover, and just getting a new contract is not a closed deal. So yeah, all that, really focusing on all the basics and numbers, all that to make it happen.
Yes, excellent. So you can set different goals for different categories. So number of sales is one. So if your average, I guess the place to start is really, how much money do I need to make this year? So my goal is $100,000 income, gross income, before expenses and taxes and all that. I want to make a gross commission income of 100,000, and my average commission is about, sometimes I get 2.5, sometimes I get 3. So I'm going to say an average of 2.75%. And then I need to divide that $100,000 of gross commission and figure out how many deals that makes. So I didn't prepare a math lesson today, but then I would divide that and I'd say, okay, that equals 30 deals or whatever, 25 deals, 20 deals, whatever it might be on my average price per sale. And I should do a math lesson to help you guys figure that out, to set your goals. So that will tell me if my goal is to raise my average price to 300,000, I'm going to be doing 20 deals, and half of those, or a quarter to a third of those are going to fall out. So that means I need to do 26 deals, put 26 deals together, and kind of work it backwards from that. I can also set a gross commission. You would set gross commission at 100,000. We say figure out the average price and get to the number of deals, and sort of that they sort of jive so that they're not out of alignment. I want to do 30 deals and make $30,000 of income. That doesn't jive, right? Or vice versa. I'm going to make $300,000 of income, but only do 6 deals. That doesn't jive. So you want to kind of have them jive, and knowing your numbers from last year will help you create next year. Now, Natalie and Robert are both brand new. They don't have last year's sales, but Sergio has a history. And you can go back and look at what he's done and make some goals, because last year was a very slow year for Sergio. He was focusing on other business things. And now this year, he really wants to kick some butt and do a lot of sales. But he knows from previous experience kind of what his average price point is, how many deals he's capable of doing, and, you know, kind of work it from there. And so there's gross commission, there's number of units, and there's volume. Those 3 different aspects to think about and intertwine and figure out what's the right numbers for each goal. Okay, great. Yes, something else you want to add to that?
Yeah, and it works, you know, like what Camille is saying, it really works because, like you were talking about momentum and stuff, you'll start to see the momentum just by making the amount of calls you need to make, and then and looking at those numbers. So I think that's a good idea to see how many listings I need to do, how many calls I need to make.
Yeah.
So when you're gonna fall through, and then oh, why am I only converting a certain amount? I need to where am I failing there? Why am I not converting at a better rate? Because lowering the price or the listings the way I should have, that's why they're falling through, and you know, things like that.
Right. Paying attention to your conversion rate is really important. If I go on 10 listing appointments and I get 3 listings, that's my conversion rate, 3 to 1, right? Or if I go on 10 listings appointment and I get 9 of them, that's a great conversion rate, right? So if I'm not converting my listing appointments into real listings, that tells me I have some skills I need to work on, or some work I need to do on my listing presentation so that I have a better conversion rate. Because going on listing appointments and not getting the listings is, 1, discouraging, 2, a waste of time. So I want to make sure I'm converting as many of those appointments into actual listings as possible. Listings with realistic, motivated sellers, so that I don't have a fallout rate, an expired rate of more than, you know, a few percentage points. I want those listings to sell. And when sellers aren't motivated, they're like, well, if we sell at the price we want, we'll move. Those aren't a motivated seller. So don't waste your time on people who aren't motivated. Weed those people out and don't take those listings. Be the second listing agent after they've gotten more reasonable and expired with the first dummy. Okay, so I want to show you a few things that I have used in my business to help motivate me and keep my momentum going. Because I know Robert and Natalie, I didn't get to ask you, do you have goals that you want to talk about? You want to tell me, Robert, what your goals are for this year? Volume, sales, something, anything.
Yeah, I look at previous year of activity of accomplishments, and we did about $100,000 in sales through estate liquidations. But that has also transpired into 2 real estate contracts.
Yeah,
One
Robert has 2 intertwining business that feed each other, which is awesome.
So looking at what's being generated from that, I haven't really put a lot of thought into it other than in the back of my mind, but not putting it down on paper, which I believe is
That's what I'm looking for. Put it on paper.
Put it down on paper. And in my past professional ventures, I always had that. I always had
Right. You've been
12
in
to
sales a
15,
long time.
12 to 15 cars a month,
Mhm.
or 60 qualified accounts, new per year on as an insurance agent.
Mhm.
Well, I'm looking at volume on this,
Mhm.
and I would say that I believe a reachable goal just by having those people in front of me, just by reaching out, making phone calls, and sending out emails, and working a CRM. I believe I can get to 3 to 4 million in volume if I
Great.
just put the work out.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that you definitely could.
Yep.
Natalie, let's hear from you. Have you got some goals? Have you and Laura sat down and set some goals together?
Yeah, we actually have. We've been talking about it, but I told her realistic for me this year that I would like to have like 4 transactions.
Great.
I told her that's like doesn't seem too overwhelming, but I can
Mhm.
learn enough for this year, and then that way next year it's like, okay, I'm
Now you
ready.
have something to build on. Yes.
Yes.
Great. And I agree, having a new baby is going to be a little overwhelming and time consuming at first. But
Right.
you'll get over that in a few months. You'll be, ready to start back to work, I think.
Exactly.
And take your time with your baby as you're a newborn and everything. But
Yes.
I'm glad to hear you're not just gonna, hang it up.
No, definitely not.
Have a baby now. Life is different. This is your second child, so you kind of been through that
Yes.
path before. And you have Laura to help support and train you and guide you and so forth like that, and bring in some business too from your dad and your mom, stepmom, and so forth. Okay. Great. So I want to show you a few things that I have used in my business that help me. Now, if you did Smart Start, you've seen this before. Sergio didn't do Smart Start, but let's look, and I'm going to share my screen, and I want to give you some things to think about. Okay. So let's see here. Move that toolbox down to here and move you guys over to there on my Zoom screen. Okay. So one of the things that I do is a production worksheet, and this is a blank one. And I keep track of my current active listings, potential buyers, deals in negotiations, and things in escrow, referral fees that I have sent out to other agents that I'm going to get some money on. So referral fees to be paid in. My referrals to be paid out go over here. Okay. And then as deals move through this pipeline here, and it finishes being an active listing into an escrow, it'll move down to here. And then once it's closed escrow, it'll move down to the end here where it's sales completed down here. I also, I used to do this more regularly. I haven't been doing it lately, but as a closing gift for a client, sometimes instead of giving them a $50 gift card to Lowe's or something, I will put a charitable donation in their name to something they might believe in or be advocating for. Could be homeless, pets, children's services of some sort, or whatever. I don't do anything to do with churches, but I will give to things that that we might have in common, that they might believe in, as a thank you for doing business with me. So it could be anywhere from $150 to $250 of my commission, depending on how big the deal was, and put that and say, this is in honor of my client so and so, and make sure they get the thank you note and so forth. This is a way of telling the people that I give back to my community. That's a great way to do things. Not everybody can afford to do that or wants to do that, and that's okay, but that's something that I have done in my business. So I keep track of my charitable giving. I make note of what I gave and when and for what client and stuff like that, and make sure that they know about it, as a way of showing clients that I care about my community, not just my bottom line. Okay. And so this is one tool that I use, and I update this every so often, whenever there's, updating to do. I actually was very bad about doing it for 2023. I need to go in and update my list, but this helped me stay on track and keep track of where I am in my progress of working with buyers, sellers, and so forth. Okay. Then when I finish a year out, I put it in this tab over here called past production, and I just scoop everything and I put it here, and I keep track of every deal I have ever done this way. Okay. I can set goals over here and they will translate over to the other sheets. and back, so the actual production shows up here. So this was one I did in 2024. I'm going to update this to 2024 because that's where we are now. But this is one I keep do this every year, but this is an old one that I did for my Smart Start people. And so these are my general goals. For example, I put continue to improve my closing rate, have less fallout, be more choosy about the clients and the properties I'm going to work with so I don't have such a high fallout rate. I'm going to develop a farm area. I'm going to improve my repeat and referral business by working my SOI better and my CRM better. I'm going to increase the number of deals and be more consistent with prospecting to get more listings. I'm going to increase my average sales price and prospect in higher price range areas. So those were general goals that I would suggest, but you can make your own, okay? And you may not want to do all of these, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them, or all of them. But anyway, so this keeps track of the gross sales for closed deals, gross commission earned, net commission earned after I pay my office fees, not after taxes and not after other expenses like my car or my cell phone, but after I paid all the things I have to pay the office, E&O, transaction fees, transaction coordinator, and so forth. What is my average sales price and what was the number of deals that I completed for the year? And keep track of all that and set the goals and then track how I'm doing and take a look at this a few times during the year to see how I'm doing. Could be once a month, could be once a quarter. Take a look at this and see how you're doing. Okay, so does that seem like it would be a helpful tool to you guys? Yeah, I think so. Okay, now in the smart Real Smart Agent panel over here, I got logged out. I'm going to show you some training that we've done in the past. HomeSmart has under education and videos. We've done some training on how to put together goals and budgets and things like that. And that is in the HomeSmart Smart Zooms over here. Okay, so we did one here in Smart Zooms a year or plus ago. And I think it's right here, this one, Business Planning with Todd Sumney. And I don't know, that's from 1 year ago. And then he did another one earlier. Is that the one? 2020. And he's done one here too. So these would be good to watch to help you get motivated to create realistic goals and crazy goals. I always say having crazy goals is a good thing because even if you only get halfway there, you're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. That's pretty amazing. So if you get a minute, instead of watching TV, football season's almost over, to watch a couple of these Business Builder Smart Zooms on business planning. And this one here, he walked through exactly how to use these spreadsheets over here. And they also got put in the Drive to 5. So there's 2 classes in Drive to 5 as well that you might look at. And we'll take a look at those too. So those are over here. Drive to 5 is down here. And there were the first 2 classes in the Drive to 5. Drive to 5 means doing 5 more deals than you were otherwise going to do this year. Okay, so this is an awesome training module here. So part 1 and part 2, business planning from a year ago, I think they might have something to do with these Excel spreadsheets that he gave us. So here's one of them. There's different sheets within the worksheet. I would start here with personal budget. What are your personal expenses? If you don't know, go get your bank statements out and your credit card statements out and see where you spend money. And this is a generic one that I edited to kind of just give you an idea of what should be in it. Your mortgage or your rent, food for your family, cell phone for your business cell phone is going to be on the business page, but do you pay for your wife or your husband's cell phone and kids and so forth? The cell phone bill for the whole family, your internet for the family, cable bill or DirecTV or whatever you use, car payments for you, your spouse and kids, your water bill, your health insurance for you and your family, electric bill, gas bill, credit card payments, car insurance, Do you have your fuel bill for your cars, private school or tuition for or college or whatever that you're paying for your kids if you have kids, eating out, we all eat out, fitness club membership if you have one, entertainment if you go out to the movies or plays or ball games or whatever, house cleaning if you do that, landscaping if you do that, just to give you some ideas of things that would be in a personal budget. All right, and so if you know those numbers, great. So here is some miscellaneous stuff that, if you have a pet, dog grooming, if your wife does your nails, that can add up. Different things like that. Co-pays on your medical bill stuff. Nobody does dry cleaning anymore. But here's some ideas of other things, okay? Add it all up. Also, you want to put in here a saving to your pension, IRA, 401k, whatever, and any cash left over. What's left over after you pay all the bills? Anything? Is there anything left? Put that in a savings account. Maybe you have a big goal to go to Disney World with your family. Do you have a vacation fund? Things like that, okay? It's always better to save for things like vacations in advance rather than on a credit card, because credit card bills are expensive. The interest rates on credit cards are exorbitant right now, 27% typically. It's awful. Okay, so look at your personal household expenses and budget, then go into your business. How much are you spending on your business stuff? All right, so then you want to take a look at, you're going to have a HomeSmart monthly fee, transaction fees and franchise fees, risk reduction fees, office rent or home office deduction, association and MLS dues, licensing dues or other things like that, software to run your business, cell phone, internet, automobile expenses. You can do mileage or you can do actual expenses. I recommend you keep track of both and then at the end figure out which one's better to make your deduction with on your Schedule C, or if you're not on a Schedule C and you're on a K1 or whatever schedule. Okay, photography for any listings, other miscellaneous equipment like camera equipment or videography equipment or anything like that. Office supplies like paper and ink for your printer, small equipment. Travel and events, like if you go to, I'm going to Grow Summit in a month, so that would be on my budget. And so if you do any training events and things like that, put that in your budget. Computer expenses, bookkeeping and accounting and other professional services, continuing education, or any other miscellaneous stuff. So you put it, is it due each month? Is it charged to a card? What is your budget for it each month? And you can, break it out per month and run this to kind of get an idea of what it takes to run your business. Okay, that's an important thing to know. Your personal expenses, your budget expenses for your business. And then marketing. So every business needs to have a marketing budget. So you put in here, you start in here with, what do you want to earn? I want to earn $150,000. This is how much I need to do. Here's my average transaction price. I get to fill in these yellow boxes myself, and it will spit out what my monthly income is going to be if I meet those goals, right? And so there I can see these are the things I need to spend money on. Some of them are not spending money, they're spending time to accomplish in my marketing. Okay, so I go through that list and run all the numbers and figure out what is my monthly budget for marketing. Todd Sumney goes through all of how to do this in his training modules. So check this out. This is kind of just an overview to show what I got here, okay? But I want you to do his training so you can kind of really dial into what do you need to do. The other part of this that he does, and I don't have this worksheet handy, is how many transactions do I want to do and what activities do I need to do to get there? And there's another worksheet for that. How many open houses am I going to do? How many farming notices am I going to do? How many sphere of influence calls am I going to make? How many listing circle dials am I going to do around an office listing, and so forth? And so that helps you break down the different activities you need to do each week. I don't have that worksheet. I'm trying to find it in the system, but I will make sure you get that one too, so that you can sort of, and again, it's not like you plug in, what do I want to make? And then figure out, I'm willing to do one open house a week or, you know, whatever it might be. I'm willing to knock on some doors. I'm willing to send out some postcards. I'm willing to make some phone calls around a listing, whatever you're willing to do. Or I'm willing to call some for sale by owners, etc. And you figure out how many of those you need to do each week to make your goal. It's a very helpful tool to break it down into bite-sized chunks of weekly tasks. Okay, so I'm going to find that one and send it to you. The other thing I want to show you to help that I found helpful is to create, this used to be my office in 2017. This is what my desk looked like. Okay, and what we have here is my daily calendar of my time block. I'm always terrible at time blocking, but I did try. I had an inspirational message here. I had some general goals here and here. These are my big projects of what I'm doing, what I want to do, what I am doing, and what I got done for bigger projects in my business. This was my thermometer. So every month I would put in a different color of how much business I did that month. And so this month I met my goal of, you know, $10,000 or whatever it is. I think I did, this is a $200,000 goal, pretty big for me at that time. I'd never made that much money before. And each month I would put in a different color for how I was doing. And my big goal was to go to Belize for a vacation with my partner. We ended up going to Mexico instead, but still that was a pretty big goal. And so, this was big for me. I had never made that kind of money before. I was like, wow, if I get even partway there, I'll be excited. I did get to like 193 or something like that year. And I think that was because I got more than that, but I had to pay out some referral fees. And so I didn't count that as more of my gross income. All right, these were now seller leads. You can see right here, now buyer leads. I'd write their name on the board so that when I was kind of stuck, I'm like, who do I need to follow up with? I had a list right here. Oh, call Dixie. Time to call Dixie and see if she's ready to do something. Now seller leads, now buyer leads, active listings. At this point in time, I had 7 active listings. And then pending sales, I had, at the moment I took this picture, I had 2 in escrow, and then I had already closed 1 that month. And I had already made $11,000 that month. GCI this month, it was August of 2017. All right, so this kind of helped me stay on track and stay focused and keep my eye on the ball. Okay, and of course, you know, I have mess on my desk. There's my coffee and my work in progress. Okay, so this kind of helped me stay focused and stay top of mind that business first. Okay, then I could go play golf after I got my prospecting done for the day or whatever. All right, so that was one thing that I did. This was a little piece of cardboard I got at the dollar store, the Michael's or something, to just put a little graphic there to watch my income come for the year. All right, so let's see here. What else did I have? I think I had one picture. Oh, here's a more close-up look of my goal sheet. Okay, so this was as of July. I did have a couple of months with no income, and that's going to happen. Even though my goal was to not let that happen, it still happened. But by July, I had made it partway to my goal, but I had 7 listings. I'm going to make my goal. I had 7 listings and 2 in escrow and 1 already closed that month that wasn't showing on the board yet. So I made my goal. Okay. Then I had, what else is on my screen here to share with you? I think that was it. Drive the business planning videos, my screen. What else was I going to show? Let me see here. Excel spreadsheets, thermometer, business board goals, watching Drive to 5. Okay, so let's stop there for a moment. I'm going to stop my screen share. Stop sharing. And I want to hear from you guys of what you've seen today about business planning. What are you going to do to move forward? Robert, let's hear from you first.
So these spreadsheets are in the Drive to 5 videos, and we can download those in there. I like them. I use similar spreadsheets for our estate sale business, and I keep a monthly tally on everything that we do, and also per sale. I have to do. I might do like 3 spreadsheets per sale, so I have to itemize everything. And having those goals, though, what you're doing there on your backboard, I really like that. Uh, you can see, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I need to be, especially for the income goals. I think that's pretty cool.
Great.
I like what I've. This class has been very instructive, very informative, and I'm really glad that I was made the time to be here.
Great. Good to hear. All right. To answer your question, is there a limit on how much you can give to a client? Are you talking about a credit to the buyer or seller, or the giving, the charitable thing?
Gifting, as in other
It's up to you.
industries, they had limits, or you couldn't give more than $50.
You're not giving it to the client. And it's not a referral fee. It's I'm honoring you by giving to your favorite charity.
Right. But as far as they bring out, I've seen in the other videos, I forgot that class where they would take gifts to their hot clients, their A clients, B
Whatever you
clients.
want. There's no limit.
Oh, okay. There's no
No.
rule or law on that.
No.
Okay.
You can give your client whatever you want.
Okay.
In terms of thanking them for a referral,
We're thanking. Yeah.
that's different. For thanking them for using you for their realtor, for their deal, you can do whatever you want. But if they send you a referral to a friend of theirs or a family member, you do have to be careful. And I think a dinner gift certificate is appropriate, or a donation to their favorite charity, or, a basket of flowers. Those are appropriate gifts that nobody could file a complaint about.
Okay.
You can't give them a percentage of your commission.
No.
That's a no-no. Okay. And yes, I will send you guys these spreadsheets and stuff. And, they're I cleaned them up and made them generic so that you could put your own numbers and your own expenses and income in there. Okay. Sergio, what do you plan to do about making some plans for your business this year?
I'm sorry, I got into a call a little while ago, but
Okay.
some time for
That's okay. We were talking about, making some goals. After seeing what I presented here, what do you plan to do this week to take steps in this direction to plan for your business for this year? Have you written anything down? Do you want some accountability? Do you want to share it with the group, share it with me, share it with your spouse, whatever? Juan Mora being your cousin, maybe you guys could have an accountability with each other. I think that would be a good thing, perhaps. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I like it. I always think that having an accountability partner is like positive pressure and positive motivation to make it happen. As far as like what I've down for this year, I have written my plans down for this year. I like to write everything down.
Good.
It's not written. It's not real. It's the way I see it. So I wrote the numbers that it's going to take for me to get to $300,000 in growth. Even if I don't hit that number, I wrote down those numbers, and I'm going to follow those numbers.
Good.
To use that CRM Chime Lofty, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to get really disciplined in how I use that, and making sure I write down notes, and making sure I send market to my close clients correctly. I also I made it a goal to have a really well refined listing procedure. How I do my listing appointments, to how I list a property. I'm going to, like, for example, I have this listing coming up that I'm going to be activating on the market this coming up Monday. and I'm gonna have a broker open the day before. So if anybody wants to go, I'm gonna have wine at that
Nice.
property, RSVP. I figured out that to have wine at your broker open, it has to be you have to have a list for people that are going to attend. So it has to be like a private party. So that's why I'm doing it for the broker open and RSVP, so we can everybody come check it out in Santa Fe. It's gonna go for about $750, and after that, I'm doing an open house. I'm gonna be sending in direct mail before I go door knock the next day and invite people to the open house around in that same neighborhood. And I'm going to invest in ads on social medias so that I know that Long Beach shines better than KB Core, because in KB Core you couldn't even do the property boost or any of that stuff, right? When you wanted to boost your listing and it grabs buyers' information when they look into your listing and stuff. So that's a very valuable tool that I'm excited to use with Chime and and just make sure that I work my CRM right. You know, that's the main thing is keeping my brand and myself at a really good way to present myself, right? A really good level of presenting myself, and then I don't gotta overdo it. Just make sure that everything looks nice and do the right thing. So I'm really focusing on doing block schedules this year and scheduling myself with block schedules so that I know that I'm not overwhelming myself. And you know what? I set a timer. 2 hours, I'm going to be calling clients. Another hour, I'm going to be working with my active clients. I go through my active clients, and then I see I go down the list and what each one of them needs, and give them a call, touch up, and make sure that I don't lose my active clients either, right? So those are kind of the goals that I'm doing this year. The numbers that are of how many appointments, how many calls I need to make for 300,000 gross commission.
Great. I want to emphasize, if you do the work, the income will come. And sometimes it doesn't feel like that. And you're feel like you're spinning your wheels, but just keep going. It will come. It will happen. Right? I know in my own business, when I stop working, business stops. And it feels like, we aren't in a business where somebody gives us widgets to sell. And so you got to sell 100 of these widgets and let me know when you're done, and you have to do it by, next Thursday. We aren't in that business. We have to make our own goals, our own work plan, and get it done. And it's a lot of self-discipline is needed to do that. Right? And I love what you're talking about. That's kind of knowing that about ourselves as human beings, that we need goals and we need a work plan to get anything done. And deadlines.
Especially when we don't have somebody telling us to do it, right? Like in a regular job.
You aren't an employee of anybody. You got to be your own boss, which is the cool part, but it's also the hard part. It's also the hard part. And that's why I think a lot of agents don't make it in this business. They don't ever stop thinking they need a boss to tell them what to do. They don't grab onto being their own boss and go with it. So it sounds like you're making good progress in that, Sergio. So I'm glad about that. And I'd love to see you do more business this year. So I am all about helping you guys accomplish that. And Natalie, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know, for you, you're in a kind of a funny spot, but
yeah, I really liked how you showed even as simple as like your trip to Belize was like your motivation, because I'm very goal oriented. Like I usually pick one huge goal for the year in my other job, and that's what I go after all year. So I think like me and my husband, we're looking to buy our dream house.
There you go.
And so we've been putting away extra money for that. So I think like that could really help me, just focusing on like, this is all going to that. And that will keep me motivated for sure.
You could put a few pictures of some gorgeous, houses in the price range you're looking at getting, and make that your motivation. Obviously, those houses aren't going to be available for you, but having a house that's a beautiful big house for your family, that's a good goal.
Yes.
Put some pictures like that on your wall and say, that's what I'm working for. I want a bigger house and a better neighborhood for my family.
Yes.
Great. All right then. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for coming and for participating. I loved it. Having you guys be part of the conversation instead of me just going blah, 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 blah makes it all worthwhile and more fun for everybody. So thank you for participating.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All
Everyone have
right.
a great day.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.